Okay. And I had one last question.
Okay.
What would you accept as a form of miracle healing?
I don't know.
Like if I were to ask you, what do you consider something that would be miracle healing?
I don't know. What do you mean by miracle healing? I mean, because to me...
My definition of miracles might be a little different than everybody else. A miracle seems to be some sort of story about some of the unverifiable event that's used for marketing purposes. That seems to be miracles. And yeah, that miracles exist in the sense that, yeah, there are these stories and there are these unverifiable stories of used for marketing. But, are we talking about some sort of awesome thing that we have never experienced before?
Yeah, actually there is.
Sure.
If you go, the only place I can direct you to is to YouTube, because that's basically where all the videos are. But there's actually a guy in Nigeria that is healing people in the name of Jesus. I would consider it miracle healing because he's doing things that...
Joshua, you believe it because you've seen the videos of this guy doing it?
Correct. I'm actually going out there myself.
Then I don't think you are being sufficiently skeptical. You have accepted on exceedingly poor evidence.
Well, no. I'll go ahead. Okay, I will be skeptical, but that's why I'm going out there myself.
Okay, and what is it? What expertise do you have, and what do you hope to achieve by going out there? At best, you would perhaps see someone with an illness that's been verified by a doctor, and see them healed, and verify that they are no longer with that afflicted with that illness. And at that point, you now have an unexplained healing. You do not have confirmation that somebody exercised supernatural powers or what those powers were or anything else.
Okay.
At most, you would be left with, wow, I have no explanation for that. And that doesn't justify leaping to supernatural explanations or asserting that it was, because there is a Jesus or a God who did this. You haven't made that tie just merely by witnessing it. So you're going to make this trip out there to watch some guy that there's YouTube videos of, and what is it that you think you're going to come back with?
Yeah, I've been to Las Vegas, and I watched the guys with the tigers, and they did some amazing, wonderful things there. The Siegfried and Roy, and nobody claimed any supernatural stuff. But gosh, I couldn't explain it.
If you don't have any expertise in the relevant area, and you are not able to actually go there and set up a proper experiment with good protocols, what is it you hope to achieve?
What would you consider proper protocols?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the specifics of what's actually been going on, but do you know?
There are professional skeptics that
do you know how to test this?
No, I don't. I just take it on a faith basis that this is what happened.
There you go. That's the problem.
Okay. And we have a winner because if you're willing to take it on faith, why waste the time to go out there?
You'd have to accept your part as well, that you're dismissing regardless.
No. Because I'm not saying this is false, and I'm not saying this is not from God. I'm saying I do not believe it because it hasn't been sufficiently demonstrated. The fact that it may be impossible to sufficiently demonstrate is not my problem or my fault, and it doesn't invalidate my position. Your position, though, is one of you're willing to accept it on faith, and that is not skepticism in any sense.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How important is it to you that something be validated as true or false? From your perspective,
extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Is the rule of thumb.
How important is it to me? It's pretty much my mantra that I want to believe as many true things and as few false things, which means I need a method for determining whether or not things are true or false.
Are you willing to do that?
Faith is not that method. You've demonstrated that you have. I don't see how you could even. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm asking you, if these miracle healings are true, how important is it to you that you would actually go out there and witness it?
There are billions of cases of miracle claims and events that are mysterious or whatever, and there's not enough time in the world to go hunt them all down. So you have to decide whether it's important, and most of these things,
If it was actually true and it had been confirmed by reasonable scientific processes, I wouldn't need to go out and investigate it because I'd be reading about it in scientific journals and seeing people get a Nobel Prize for it. So I don't have to go hunt down everybody who claims, the people in India who claim to be living off prana and eating nothing but light and taking in no food. I don't have to go investigate their claims because they are, by definition, not believable until there's sufficient evidence for them. And I don't actually have to go out and do the testing myself.
Yeah, it's not my job.
On every single claim that's out there. There are some things, by the way, which we do not need to waste any time testing on them until somebody has demonstrated that there's a reasonable mechanism by which we might be able to explain this. That's the point at when investigation is worthwhile. And so all the people who claim that they talk to the dead, well, some of them make testable claims, or that the dead talk to them, I guess, because anybody can talk to the dead. Some of them make testable claims, and some of them don't. Now, the untestable claims are a complete and utter waste of time, and it's one of the reasons why all those psychics, quote unquote, on TV refuse to be nailed down and tested. Because they're giving these vague pronouncements from the spirit world. It's like they're playing charades with ghosts.
It only happen when their chakras are aligned.
Yeah. And if they can actually produce testable claims, then we can test them. And you know what? There are people that actually do this, and so far, no supernatural claim has managed to withstand scientific testing to confirm that there's actually a phenomenon there.
And there's even a prize for that, the James Randi Educational Foundation.
And that's
$1
the
million
first
prize.
step
Yeah.
before you get to determining what the explanation for that demonstrated phenomenon is. We can't even demonstrate the actual phenomenon sufficiently to test it. You have no hope of getting to an explanation for something that hasn't been demonstrated.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. If you had AIDS and Miracle Man said he could hear you, would you go out there and do it, or would you just say no?
No.
Evidence?
No. No. Why would I? Okay. Why? Let's say I have AIDS, and a Miracle Man says he can cure me. Meanwhile, we have scientific medication that is designed to treat it. Why would I waste my time going out to somebody when there's no... If somebody had a cure for AIDS, somebody has a cure for AIDS, a miracle person can cure AIDS, do you not think this would be like the biggest frickin' news in history, and it wouldn't need me to go out and verify it just because I'm the one that happens to be stricken? Right. What you're talking about is desperation. Oh my gosh, I have nothing to lose because I'm going to die anyway, so let this miracle person wave their hands around me. If I'm dying, I've got better things to do with my time than to waste it on unfounded claims.
And isn't it despicable that somebody would take advantage of somebody in that state? Isn't that horrible?
If you've got the cure for AIDS and you're sitting around just taking advantage of people who want to accept things on faith, then you're a horrible person anyway.
That may be true. Well, I do believe we live in a society that suppresses evidence. I think we have a lot of things that aren't out in the public.
We live
in Time magazine and does have medical records from the people that
Joseph, yeah. We live in the time where you have the most access to the most information in the entire history of the planet. It is more difficult now to hide things than it has ever been before. And what you're engaging in, even though you haven't actually said this, when you go down this route of I believe that there's information that's out there you are engaged in conspiracy theorist thinking. And what that does is it takes disparate pieces of truth and weaves together a story that seems compelling as long as you don't actually investigate or care about the truth. And I have no interest in it at all.
Okay.
Thanks. Bradley in Davidson, how are you?